Hey everyone, Dockwell here, and welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be a quick overview and analysis of patch 7.35D, which I think I joked about it before when I was doing the tier list last week, that like, oh, you know, it'd be hilarious if we got a D patch. I don't think anybody expected a D patch. I think people expected Crownfall or whatever, and when it didn't come, you know, last week, and then it didn't come this week, you know, Thursday was coming around, people were probably like, it's not going to come then for another month or so. But to get a D patch and then also get Crownfall later, it's kind of weird. I just didn't expect that. I don't think very many people expected that at all. But it did come this, you know, on a Thursday, which was one of the days people expected. And I have the changes here, but actually before we look at all these changes, we're actually going to look at the matchmaking features that they added and changed with this patch. So they changed banning, first of all. So you know, they kind of explain why here, but why is not maybe as important because it has to do with like people banning for specific players and stuff like that. But basically what you do, instead of going into a game and banning heroes outright in the beginning, you know, for the first 10 seconds or whatever it is of a game, you actually just choose which heroes you want to ban beforehand in every game. And then one of those heroes is guaranteed to get banned. And leaving any of these things blank doesn't actually help because it'll choose from one of these 4 slots, and if you leave any of them blank, you could just ban nothing. So having these 4 bans is important here. Usually, I'm just going to pick a lot of cheese heroes I don't like to play against, like heroes that I don't like on my team either. I'm going to do that kind of stuff. But I really like this, so it doesn't, you know, it makes sure that you're actually getting a ban in, and you don't have to like panic do it before, you know, you queue up, you press accept, and then you have to, oh, I got to go to the bathroom or do something else, then you miss the ban phase, which I feel like happens a bunch. But now you just can guarantee your bans ahead of time, which is pretty cool, and you know that one of them is going to get banned, so that's pretty awesome as well. And then the other thing, if we scroll down, is they changed matchmaking a little bit for people that have Dota Plus, which is that you can see like the quality of the match that you're getting into before accepting, and then you can actually click queue again with like no penalty and go right back into the queue. We'll see if this like makes queue times worse. I'm really not sure. Probably depends on region and stuff like that. I'm also not sure how many people, like what the percentage is of players who actually have Dota Plus and would use this. I don't know. But we'll also see like I maybe if you're like queuing in NA where it's like dead or something, you'll get like insane ranges and you'll be like, oh wow, no wonder this game is going to be bad or something, and I'm getting all these bad games. Or I just don't know. We'll see how it works, or how, you know, if you can actually predict how good the game is going to be, or if this actually means anything, or if everybody just like, clicks accept, or maybe you just see, oh, behavior score is like variable or whatever, or not close, then okay, I'm just not going to accept that. Because honestly, that's one of the biggest things is like if you just have people raging and like being annoying and quitting and just, you know, deleting items, like that's the thing you want to avoid probably for the most part. So I think that's probably going to be the one people look at the most, at least personally. I mean, skill, yeah, but like what does moderate skill range mean? Like it's hard to tell, all that kind of stuff. I think behavior score is probably the bigger one, but that's pretty cool that they did update these things. We'll see how they play out. I think the bans are the coolest one, at least in my opinion. And now we'll go through all of the item changes, all the hero changes, and just kind of highlight the ones that are the most important. So the first thing is BKB got nerfed by 5 seconds for the cooldown, which is important because they've been nerfing this item forever. And I think they buffed it like relatively recently, because I think when they changed how BKB kind of worked in the game overall, how Magic community worked overall, it just got so bad and no one was ever buying it. Now people are kind of back to buying it a little bit, but even so, like you'll see a lot of carries and stuff just not buy it, like buy Manta, buy anything to survive more, like Butterfly, like tanky items, buying Satanic as well, because that's a dispel. So like anything that they can buy to make it so that they don't have to buy BKB, like they will do that if they can. So this is even going to be more of a reason to do that too, which I kind of like that, because it's good to have this item in the game, and like that it's an option that you need to buy it if you like have to, if it's a game like it's like so necessary to do that. But it's cool when it's not just like bought on every core, every single game, and even supports to some extent. So that's cool. And then Divine Rapier, I don't like that they're nerfing it, because basically they're changing it. They gave it 25% spell amp before, and now they're changing it to you have to choose between the full damage and the spell amp. So like there's decreasing the damage overall, but then you get to choose to have that damage or the spell amp. And so that's kind of weird, because I just don't really feel like that's good, because I like when people buy rapiers, and yes, we've been seeing people buy more rapiers I think recently, but that's like cool. I mean, it's like a cool item, because it's like a late game item, it's a risky item, kind of going all in for this thing later in the game, and you know, we've had a lot of late games recently, so it just, I like that, and making that damage less, or just having to choose between those things is just kind of annoying. I don't know how big of a deal that is because I don't know how much people are really buying this for the spell amp, but now it's just like you don't get that extra thing because you're probably just going to use the damage for the most part. I mean, in almost every case, unless you're Zeus, but even Zeus is going like right-click build these days. So anyway, that's Divine Rapier. Then they're buffing Scotty because it kind of got nerfed to the ground. It was popular a few patches ago, and now no one buys it. And then Helm of the Dominator and Helm of the Overlord, they have not been bought, so now you actually get the gold bounty, which is a decent thing. You don't just get, like, taking control of the creep doesn't just lose you all that gold, especially once it becomes the ancient creep. And then obviously Maelstrom, Gleipnir, Javelin, these are all like really good. Mjolnir, they're the really good items right now. So they're obviously getting nerfed overall, which is kind of needed. I don't know that it's going to kill this item because, this item just overall is like the best farming item other than like Battle Fury or something. But I just think this item's like very good with the way they changed it with attack speed and everything like that. And then Magic Stick is getting changed, which I don't know when it was the last time Magic Stick got changed. Like, I didn't look it up, but it's got to be years, man. It's got to be many years, I feel like, other than getting, like, you can upgrade Magic Wand into, like, whatever other thing that no one ever buys ever. But just the cooldown increased to 15 seconds, so it's a little bit of a nerf. I mean, people buy this every single game. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's like people buy boots every game. Does that mean they need it nerfed? I don't really know, but, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Well, I don't know why they did it, but I mean, whatever. It's cool. I mean, I don't really mind it. It's not a huge deal to me. Manta, really powerful right now, so they nerfed the cooldown. Null Talisman, no one buys these, so they buffed it. Oblivion Staff, Orchid, and Bloodthorn, I mean, they have been popular on some heroes. It's not a, personally, I don't love this item, but it has been relatively popular, so I understand why they are nerfing it in like all these different ways, intelligence, mana regen, all that kind of stuff. Then we have Prasma, great for all these intelligence heroes like OD and Puck and like all the mids basically that have been picked a lot. The intelligence ones are just buying this all the time, so it makes sense they nerfed that a little bit. And then Revenant's Brooch, I don't know really why they nerfed this. I mean, I know it was getting picked up a little bit, but not that much. Like, in pubs especially, I never saw this. But, like, yeah, pros were picking it up. I think I did see it here and there, but, like, they nerfed it to the point where now it's like, it's just not going to get bought again. Like, it's never been bought. It hasn't really, I don't know. It's just weird that they would do that. Shadowblade's been a dead item for a bit now, and Silver Edge too, because I think, yeah, like, it used to contain, I mean, there's been all different kinds of variations where it used to contain Echo Saber and stuff like that. That was a long time ago. And then it used to contain crit and all these different things. But now it's a very boring upgrade. Doesn't give you what you want really for anything. It's just basically invis and a break, which means that it's just not worth it because it doesn't give you anything else extra really other than it's just main use, which for the longest time, for many years now, it's given you something extra and now it just doesn't. So I feel like you almost never see this item anymore. So it makes sense that they're buffing it. And then neutral item changes, I'm really not going to focus on these. I almost never do. I don't think that relevant. Like, people just figure out which ones are good, and then they, especially these days when it gives you the highlighted one of, like, selecting the good one, you pretty much choose that almost every time. Unless it's like, you might look for a second and be like, is there something else that's good? And you're like, no, I'm just selecting that one. That's pretty much it. And then lastly, before we get to the hero changes, the neutral creeps have been nerfed. The jungle's been nerfed a little bit, which is good, I think, because it just needs nerfed overall. Like, harder to get more gold on the map because people can just, like, the laning stage seems to not matter these days. You can just go to the jungle and just infinitely because there's so much space. So I think this is in the right direction. I don't think it's significant enough. Like, it's not as big of a deal. Like, people are stacking a lot, so this definitely helps nerf that a little bit, but, like, come on, Mud Golem and Satyr, like 2 gold, 3 gold. I mean, I don't think that's really that big of a deal. I don't think it's really going to change the game a lot. And then moving on to hero changes. So AA got a small buff, but not super relevant. And then Arc Warden got a small nerf. Again, not super relevant. This hero's been nerfed a couple times because it was super powerful before. Bat Riders got a small nerf. When you look at it, it seems like a big nerf, but actually it's not like huge. It's just the tick damage is actually almost quicker now because level 1, it used to be 10 damage for 5 seconds, which is 50. Now it's 25 for 2 seconds, which is also 50. It's just nerfed a little bit overall in the middle stages, which is a little bit weird, but the damage actually happens faster, so I don't really know if this is that much of a nerf. Like, it's just a little bit awkward. I don't know. I mean, this hero was very strong, getting picked as a support all the time, and this is kind of like a nerf to that, but is it really a nerf? Like, yes, it is, but I don't know by how much. Like, it's just kind of a little bit awkward is all. It's not like as significant as you might think. And then Beastmaster, the Zoo hero, is not as popular, except for Chen, obviously. But attack speed increased, makes sense because this hero's not been that popular. Bloodseeker's been dead for like infinity years, so they're just increasing his, base agility by 2, which is whatever. And then Thirst being lifesteal, I guess, helps too. Centaur, one of the most popular offlaners right now. Damage on Hoof Stomp decrease, so that is significant. But I mean, it's only 20 at the end of the day. But I mean, anything helps for this hero. And then the talent also with the regen is decreased. And then Chaos Knight. This is kind of significant because this hero was very popular about 6 months ago, and then they nerfed it a bunch of times. I think the biggest thing that they nerfed was the lifesteal and creeps and stuff, because before you could just max out Chaos Strike and just like, it didn't even matter how much harass you took in lane when you maxed this out. You were just critting back up to full, like, with a few creeps. Like, and it was just so hard to, wear this hero down, and it was very good. And then later in the game, you could just, like, be an offlaner and scale with your right clicks and your Reality Rift and your stun and everything. Now, it's, like, less about Chaos Strike and more of this Reality Rift has just become kind of insane. I think over the last few patches, they buffed the range on this from, like, 400 to, like, 750, I think, at max level. So now it's, like, this is pretty far away. At least, I think it was, like, maybe it was, like, 450. I don't know, but they've buffed it a lot. They've, like, almost doubled it or something. So now this is, like, long enough range that you can, like, pull people from pretty far away. This becomes more, like, actually kind of support-ish. This has a stun, this has a reposition, a minus armor. Like, you could legitimately play this hero as a support, even as an offlane too, just more like focusing on the Reality Rift and like spanning this out. So we'll see if it's enough to actually bring this hero into the meta, but I think this could be like a sleeper pick. I really do like Chaos Knight. I like playing him. He's a pretty fun hero. But we'll see if this is enough to bring him back. And then the Chaos Strike, it is improved a little bit, but like 0.1, it's kind of like whatever. It's not a huge deal. Then Chen's been kind of, I wouldn't say nerfed into the ground, but this definitely helps because this hero was like broken at high MMR. But like I said in my tier list videos, no one really picks this. Probably you shouldn't pick it because most people don't know how to play it, but it definitely did need some nerfs, and so it got some nerfs on the move slow decrease and the bonus armor decreased when you put Divine Favor on someone, which is kind of insane. Like 24 armor, that is a lot to just like cast this on somebody. Like easy, here you go, 24 armor. That's just like invulnerability, honestly, to right clicks in a lot of different ways. Clockwork gets some love, but this increased damage from the mana burn is not really going to do anything, but this hero needs like way more love. They need to just like change abilities and things with the hero to make it relevant. Crystal Maiden definitely did need a nerf, I think. I mean, this hero's been pretty popular, but mana cost on the clone thing, I mean, I don't know that that's going to be that big of a deal. Dark Willow, a small change here that's not super big. I don't know that that really does anything. Disruptor, small change with the slow duration increase, small buff, but again, not super relevant. DK, this is, I think, relevant because this hero was nerfed before. So a couple patches ago, this hero was like the most popular offlaner, or one of the most popular, mainly because of the Dragon Breath having the level of Elder Dragon attack, like buff or whatever, apply to the breath. So you didn't even have to be in Elder Dragon form to actually like tick the creeps down. So you just farm quicker, you do dot damage to anything you breathe on. And so that was really good. It just helped farming and all these different things that the hero lacks and stuff like that. And now they nerfed some aspects of the hero, especially the Ags, which was the kind of the big thing you were kind of getting to in the late game. And now they nerfed, which is kind of like a broken thing, I guess, with like illusions with Manta. So they nerfed that a little bit, just like applying the dragon's Elder Titan dragon form hit when you just like reverted. So that's kind of important. And then Corrosive Breath no longer, or the duration is decreased significantly, so it's not like helping you as much. So this might be enough to kill the hero, because I already saw it less. I already was personally picking it less, so I think this might be enough to actually kill the hero officially. I mean, I think it's still going to be decent. Like, you can definitely still pick it, but it's just going to be middle of the road now and not really seen very much, or maybe even bad. I don't know. We'll see. And then Drow Ranger, just small buffs to multi-shot and stuff, but it's just an awkward hero. It's very rare this hero ever sees like pro play, and then I think it's always still semi-viable. Like almost every patch, like you can pick this hero and be good with it. Almost every patch, like no matter what they do, no matter how good or bad it is. There's like sometimes it can be good, but it's never like amazing, and sometimes it can be very bad, but it's never like the worst hero ever. At least not recently, I think. Earth Spirit got like nerfed into the ground when they changed the cooldown for the rolling boulder, so now they're just buffing it, doubling its damage. So I don't know if that's enough to get it back in the meta, but doubling its damage on something is significant, of course. And then Ember Spirit, he was really good for a long time, or not a long time, but in the patch a couple patches ago when Mage Slayer was really good, and there was a few months of that, and he just was like amazing. He was right clicking like 1,000 miles per second. It was just really good. And then they nerfed Mage Slayer, so like nobody's buying it anymore, and that kind of killed the hero a little bit. So they're doing a small change there, but I don't think it's super significant. And then Faceless Void, probably one of the most popular carries, probably the most popular carry, probably the best carry, and they're nerfing time dilation pretty significantly, I'd say. And this is honestly the spell that makes this hero so annoying, because obviously everything that Void does otherwise, with, the jump and the gaining health back and the Chronosphere and the, bashing you to death and all that kind of stuff, that's just like what Faceless Void does, right? But then there's this time dilation spell, and it's like, what even is this thing? This is like so weird and crazy and annoying. It's just odd that the hero has this extra slow and damage and annoyance, and now you can't cast your spells. And it's like, there's so many heroes in the game now that cast so many spells, and like nobody has passives anymore. So this ability just makes this hero so much better. And so I do like that they're nerfing this ability specifically and not the other stuff, because it still does what it does normally, how you think of Void, but now it just does this weird thing worse, which I like. I almost would not even care if they just removed this ability and gave him something else. I mean, I guess that would make the hero boring. I kind of like the concept. It is kind of cool, but it's just weird that Faceless Void has it, I guess. And maybe not like lore-wise or whatever, who cares about that, but just in general, it kind of is this weird support ability that he just gets. He's able to just jump in, do it during the laning stage. It just makes so many more parts of his game so much stronger. So that's Faceless Void. Then Hoodwink, really popular right now. I think they nerfed it before too, but now the level 10 talent cooldown reduction decreased by a second. So it's like, okay, what even is that? This hero I think is still pretty good. Then Kunkka's been popular for a while. Like, he was really popular many months ago, but people were still kind of picking him despite all the nerfs to Torrent Storm and all that stuff. So he's still been picked here and there, so they're still nerfing it again. But again, small nerf. Leshrac, another kind of small nerf, like kind of significant, but it's level 20 talent. I mean, when it's a talent nerf, it's kind of just like, I mean, how much does that really affect it? But this hero's been pretty good now back in the meta, so it makes sense that they're nerfing it. Then Lich gets some love because this hero's kind of not been popular, I think, in pros too much, which I think it's actually really popular, and I've seen a lot of it in just normal pubs, actually. I think this hero can be very effective, very powerful, and now Frost Shield damage is like weaker level 1, yes, sure, but it's better at all other levels. So, I mean, it's 2 damage level 1. That's kind of like, I mean, whatever. Yes, you are leaving this probably level 1, for a little bit because you're maxing out your other ability. But still, I mean, 2 damage, whatever, and now it's just better overall, like, throughout the rest of the game. And once you do max that out or start putting levels into it, and then Chain Frost being able to select the Ice Spire, that's just a cool quality of life. So I don't know if this is like huge. It's not huge for the hero, like giant changes, but giving this hero some love is cool, and I think it also makes this hero more relevant. And then Lifesteal has just been nerfed overall, mainly with like the Ag Scepter stuff and like the Radiance build and movement speed on Rage. Just these things that make this hero kind of more annoying, because this hero came back into the meta in an annoying way, like basically buying Ags and Radiance and stuff and just being like, okay, I can infest enemies. Like that's just odd that's even a thing. And that's the main, it's almost like a cheese pick now in a way. It's like, I'm picking carry, but I'm doing this cheese build, and so they're just nerfing the hero overall and nerfing the cheese build a little bit at least. So yeah, that's Lifestealer. I don't know. I think this hero is like on the verge of not being very good, because I think like traditionally it's not good. Like in just a straight up normal carry way, it's not good. It was just that meme build. So if that meme build dies, I think the hero dies. Then Mars kind of back into the meta. So now they're nerfing Arena of Blood, which is a really good ultimate. So obviously maxed out. If you're still a core, you're going to get back to 90 seconds. But early on, I mean, that 10 seconds is significant since you're going to be using this a lot. And then the cooldown reduction on the talent, like, these are small nerfs, but significant enough, I think. And then Medusa's buffed a little bit, which is always scary, because you never want to buff Medusa too much. It's one of those heroes, because if it gets good, and it's like, especially now that they changed the way it works, where it has like infinite mana pool and like 2 health, if this hero gets really good and unkillable, it's just going to be cancer in pubs. So let's hope. I don't think this is enough, but who knows? With all the kinds of nerfs and buffs, it's always hard to tell who gets the most benefit from that, and if that's Medusa, we're all going to be crying. Mirana's been pretty good, so it's a small nerf, not really a huge deal. And then Naga, small nerf as well, like on a talent, whatever, not a big deal. Necro's kind of been dead ever since they nerfed Heart, and some other stuff's come back into the meta where it's like more magic damage and things. So they're just buffing the talents here. But again, I think that's not really enough to bring the hero back into any kind of, meta. And then Pangolier has been nerfed, which is a little bit odd to me, because, I mean, this hero has been good for a long time, for like, years and years this hero's been good, but I think they finally got it to not be the best hero ever like it was for the longest time. But now they're nerfing it significantly, I think, because I think it does less damage per strike on Swashbuckle, but it also, just having 1 less hit is very important for proccing everything that you need to proc, which is important for, obviously, Maelstrom, which is important for Basher, which is important even, I think, for diffusal for like burning mana and stuff. It's just for everything that this hero does, having one less hit for Swashbuckle is like super important. I think this is super big. This actually could be enough to like kill the hero for a long time. Now, I don't know. I think the hero's kit just in general is so good that like that might not be the case. I mean, they seem to just change this hero, nerf it. It's almost like Pangolier and Mars always seem to be these heroes that no matter what you do, no matter how much you nerf it, it still seems to be good somehow and come back into the meta after a couple months, even though you think it's dead. And then Primal Beast, small nerfs here, at least early on, to Onslaught and then Uproar, small nerf as well. I just think this hero's been pretty good. I mean, it's still very tanky, still does a lot of the same things. So again, I think it's necessary, but I don't know how big of a deal that is. And that's kind of the general consensus. There's a couple heroes here and there that are big nerfs or big buffs, but generally overall it's just kind of nerfing the strong heroes a little bit and buffing very weak heroes a little bit. And then Puck, another small nerf to basically like kind of the cheese, oh, I'm going to right click you with the shard and the scepter and stuff like that. It's just not as insane and like, oh, I'm just dying, like supports just die with your like Deso Daedalus or whatever stupid build you're going with the right click Puck. So they nerfed that a little bit, which I don't necessarily think that's the biggest deal, although Parasma was nerfed as well, so any kind of hero that buys that is also going to be nerfed, so this combines to make Puck a good bit worse. Then Sand King, which has been a dead hero for eternity, except for that one patch where they buffed it, and then they instantly killed it like the next day, which was stupid, because this hero is like kind of a cool hero. I mean, it's an interesting hero, and now that like Dust does what Dust does, it just seems insane. Like, it's so hard to play this hero in general because of the way it works with Dust, but I just like that they're increasing the base damage by 6. That's cool. That's a lot of damage. That's significant. Makes the laning stage a lot better. A lot more better. And then the dumb thing, though, is I hate when they do this. This is the worst thing ever. It's so stupid because base damage by 6, strength gain decreased by 0.4. Why? Why do you do this? Like, this makes no sense to me. It's so stupid. I don't think that this like 6 increase of damage is enough to outweigh the 0.4 decrease per level that the strength gain is being reduced for Sand King. That's not... Like, this almost could be considered a nerf for the hero, and the hero sucks. In fact, give him 0.4 strength gain additionally. Like, make his strength gain 3.1. Like, I don't even think the hero gets played even if that's the case. And now you're nerfing it by that much? I hate when they do this. They haven't done this for a while. There was like 2, 3, whatever years that they would do this all the time, and I hated it so much. And I think Ice Frog's come back for the last year, and they don't do this anymore, so I don't know why he's doing this. Probably just to piss me off, to be honest. Then Shadow Fiend's kind of a dead hero, so mana cost decreased, but like, whatever. I don't really care about that. Not a big deal. Helps him out, but still, whatever. Silencer, also a dead hero. They're kind of buffing the glaives int steal, so who knows, maybe that'll help like the core silencer. I would love to see core silencer be like a real thing. Like, if we could get like a intelligence right click carry and it's silencer, that would be awesome. I think that's how the hero should be played. They should honestly just change the alt and get rid of the stupid alt, because when this hero is good as a support, you just press R. That's all you do. It's dumb. Or you just like spam your spells in lane, and it's very annoying, and it's not like a fun hero to play with or against, honestly. So I think they should just make this hero a right click hero, to be honest. Then Snapfire, small buffs to this hero, just projectile speed on Fire Snap Cookie and Scatter Blast, increasing the move slow and the slow duration and attack slow and all that kind of stuff when you hit them at point blank range, which is cool. I like this buff because I am a Snapfire player. I love the hero just because I think it offers you a ton of different things. I don't love it as a core. Like, I hate when it's played as a core because I like it as a support. And so when it's played as a core, it gets nerfed in all those ways. Now, usually it doesn't get nerfed to affect the support that much. They nerf more like the right click ability of the hero, but I still don't love seeing it get nerfed since I like it so much as a support. And now it's better as a support and just better in general, which is pretty cool. And I love it because you just offer a little bit of everything, and you can also farm really, really well in the hero, especially with the shard and the Scatter Blast and everything. So I love that they're buffing that. Sven, meme, base armor decreased by 1, but it was a good hero. Techies, small nerf, not a huge deal, but a small nerf early on to the sticky bomb. Then Templar Assassin getting damage increase on meld, I think is significant, because 30 at max level is significant. Now, yes, you're probably going to max like your other skills. Meld is not as important, and if you got it, you got 1 level in it. I understand all that, but this hero is one of those heroes where it can kind of snowball out of control with the damage. So 30 damage, that's not nothing, especially with the minus armor that you get from meld, from the deso you buy, and all that kind of stuff. So just look out for this hero, because most of these buffs and nerfs are minor, and this kind of seems like a minor one, but it could actually be a decent kind of big one. And then we have Terrorblade, who is just obviously super annoying. Like, stop picking this as a support. Like, it's just stupid. And now the reflection damage is decreased, and the radius is decreased, which is all great. Just get this stupid support out of the meta. Just get it out of here. And Reflection was one of the main reasons it could be used as a support, so thankfully it's going to be gone now, or at least hopefully. Timbersaw, just very good overall, just doing a ton of damage, so they just nerfed the damage, nerfed the reactive stacks, which I don't really love reactive armor anyway. It kind of like sucks now, so now they're making it even worse, kind of. But yeah, especially early on. Tinker, buffs, which is always a little bit like, oh, don't buff this hero too much. You know, you never love to see Tinker buffs. You never love to see like Brood buffs or anything like this. There's some of these heroes that's just like, oh, don't buff it too much, please. So small buffs there, but we'll see if that matters. Tiny, very good hero right now. Tiny nerf for Tiny. On Tree Grab. Troll, they're nerfing the hero, which is fun. I mean, yes, he's been in the meta a little bit. I mean, I have to admit he has been picked, but it's just funny that they're nerfing it because I just think this hero's trash overall, never going to be like very, very good until they change the ult even more and make it better, but whatever. Then Underlord, just completely dead hero. Changing this a little bit, but not significantly. I mean, the Atrophy Aura, more damage, that's great and all, but like I just don't think that's enough to make the hero different. Ursa, overpower slow resistance rescaled and increased, which I think is cool. This basically is sort of making it so like, okay, are you going to level this early on more? Not really. You're not like, I mean, people were probably leveling this, maxing it out second anyway, so I think that's just not going to change regardless. It's just later on you do have more of a slow resistance, which is cool. Void Spirit basically is the worst spirit hero right now for a while, ever since like, you know, Universal Heroes got nerfed a bunch and this hero was insane and they nerfed it a lot, so giving it a little bit more damage on Dissimulate makes sense. And then Weaver, look out for this hero. This is another look out for this hero because, you know, I think it was good. People even were playing it like off lane, you know, a few months ago when there was like carry off lanes and stuff a lot more. And then it kind of died a little bit, but I have seen it being played in, you know, carry roles, not as much off lane, but I've seen it played as a carry. And now it's just, you know, they're buffing it here and there. Like this Geminate attack damage increase is pretty significant. I mean, 5, I mean, that's good for Geminate attack because you're getting multiple attacks. So I don't think it's a lot, but just look out for this hero. I definitely think it's pretty viable. So that is the patch 7.35D. Those are all the updates. Pretty much the biggest thing, honestly, was the matchmaking and the bans. That's pretty cool. And then honestly, the item changes were huge, I think. Like the nerfs to Maelstrom, the nerf to BKB, these things were significant. And then I think there was a few heroes that got significant changes, but otherwise it was just small buffs and small nerfs to just tweak it a little bit. And I think that's pretty good because that's what I'd like to see. Sand King is the one that makes me really mad. It's kind of stupid, but otherwise I think everything there really made sense. We'll see how this affects the meta. I think it changes it enough a little bit to spice it up before the big patch and enough to like nerf a lot of the things that were really good and bring some heroes maybe back into the meta and just make it a little fresh for us. So that's patch 7.35D. As always, guys, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all of those kinds of things. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.